Most legal teams don't have a working data foundation for AI. That's why contract reviews still take days instead of hours. I'll show you the exact steps: the folder structure, the SharePoint columns, extraction prompts, and routing rules, so you can build your data foundation straight away. I'm Rok, founder of MPL Legal Tech Advisors. We consult legal teams adopting AI and using it safely by building their data foundation first. If the data layer is junk, AI won't help you, no matter what you've heard online. So we start by mining your contracts to codify your lawyer's judgment, and then wire that into intake, triage, and negotiation. And here's the exact sequence we use at MPL Legal Tech Advisors. Alright, waste no time, let's get into it. Step number 1 is you're going to shadow the people that are actually doing the manual process. In our example, the incoming contracts. From start to finish, ask simple questions. How did it arrive? How do you know the type? Where did you save it? What happens if something looks odd? Who do you escalate to? And then map the flow. Intake, triage, assignment, filing, all on one page. Keep it simple, like you're explaining it to a 3-year-old. That exposes the steps that usually break downstream. As you shadow, collect the evidence. The intake email, the attachments, first save location, the subject line, and who escalated it. These artifacts become your service blueprint and your extraction spec. Finally, put each step into 6 lanes: client actions, front stage, backstage, tech, evidence, acceptance. Intake should only pass when the required fields are captured and a confirmation goes out. Part number 2, and very important, is create a clean repository. Don't patch your old shared drive. Stand up a clean, matter-centric library called legal contracts and structure it. Example here: clients, matters, and every matter has multiple folders: intake, negotiation, signed, amendments. Now, evidence stores the extracted JSON and a 1-line audit note. As for the naming, use one naming rule everywhere. For example, matter code _doc type _counterparty _year and date and _ the number of the version. Enforce a few required fields. For example, counterparty, effective date, renewal date, governing law, liability cap. You get the gist of it. In step number 3, you're going to prove the foundation with a focused NDA pilot. Now keep it tight. 20 to 50 NDAs from previous months, from the last 6 to 12 months. Enough variety, but not chaos. Sub-step number 1 in this part is move and rename. Drop each file into its matter and rename it with the rule, which is the naming convention. Sub-step number 2, tag the required fields: counterparty, effective date, renewal date, governing law, and so on. Step number 3 is you're going to write down the working rules. For example, effective date equals the first date in the preamble. Renewal equals clause with auto-renew or successive terms, governing law or applicable law, and so on. Sub-step number 4, you're going to handle the scans. OCR your documents, spot check 10 to 20%, and make sure for the unreadable files to go straight to manual review. Sub-step number 5 is save the evidence. For each file, save the extracted output and decisions as JSON format in the evidence folder. That's your audit trail and your prompt and your playbook fuel. And then set your pass-fail gates on day 1. You want at least 98% accuracy. For the metadata accuracy, 95 would do, and you want less than 1% of critical errors. If you miss a target, rework within 48 hours, update the rules, and rerun only the misses. This pilot locks your matter-centric SOP, surfaces the edge cases, and gives you a clean NDA set that will mine later. Step number 4 is your prompt extraction pack. So you want to extract for the purpose of analysis and not the storage. The schema should be simple: parties, dates, law, term, liability, data, termination, security. Rules should be very tight. Effective date should be a preamble. Cap should be shall not exceed. Renewal should be auto-renew. And always normalize governing law. Then write the fields back to the columns and save the full JSON into the evidence. And then add the document hash for proof. And then for the Q&A, start with 100% manual review. Gradually move to 20% plus the fails. If the same error repeats 3 times, update your prompt pack and rerun only those files. Now we have the extracted data, and now step number 5 is going to be turning that extracted data into playbooks that people can actually use. A concrete example: start with signed MSAs from the past 12 to 24 months. Export the evidence from JSON to CSV. Keep only the latest signed per matter, and then drop the drafts. Then pivot the caps. Bin into 12 months, 18 months, greater than 18, and uncapped. Add the median and the 75th percentile. And then from this, draft your tiers. Preferred or below the median, about 12 months of fees. Acceptable up to 75th percentile, around 18 months, with a data supercap at 24. Escalate if uncapped, tied to contract value, or above 18 months. Now encode this into the routing rules. So deviation percent equals out of bounds clauses divided by total checked times 100. Less than 20% routes to paralegal, 20 to 60% to associate, and then 60 or higher to senior. And then finally, acceptance test before the rollout. Take 15 recent matters, auto-compare against the playbook, and then target at least 85% correct routing with fewer than 5% critical misses. Log the misses, adjust the tiers, and bump your playbook version. Review monthly and note one reason for every change. If this sounds daunting, that's exactly what we help with at MPL Legal Tech Advisors. Book a free consultation call with us below. Step number 6, intake triage by deviation. At intake, don't eyeball contracts. Score them. The extractor fills the fields, we compare them against the current playbook version, and calculate the deviation percent. Each document type has a weighted checklist, so riskier clauses push the score higher. For NDAs, 100 points total. Liability 40, renewal 20, governing law 15, confidentiality also carves out 15, and termination 10. Formula is simple. Deviation percent equals weighted out of bounds clauses divided by total checked times 100. Routing then runs on thresholds. Below 20% goes to paralegal, service level 24 hours, 20 to 60% goes to associate, service level 8 hours, and then 60 or higher routes to the senior immediately. Now before routing, we apply overrides. Missing critical fields, confidence below 0.6, verify high deal value, or unknown counterparty, or no DPA or SOC2. Those trigger manual review or higher level routing. And then finally, we write back the deviation percent, the triage level, and the playbook version used. And we also save a short triage JSON in an evidence folder. Weekly, we sample 10 to 20% for accuracy. Now target is 70% or better. If the same misroute repeats 3 times, we adjust weights or the playbook and bump the version. Step number 7, batch acceptance thresholds. Before we touch a file, we log the batch gates. That way, no one argues later. A batch is one document type for one date range. Now we check 4 things. Naming at 98% or higher, metadata completeness at 95% or higher, and then critical fields such as parties, dates, law, liability, error rate at 1% or lower, and evidence integrity at 100%. If any gate fails, the batch is rejected. We rework it within 48 hours, update the rules and the prompt pack, and rerun only the misses. Sampling plan is simpler. First 2 batches get 100% review. After that, sample the larger of 20% or 10 documents plus manual reviews. Freeze the playbook version for the batch. If it changes, that starts a new batch. Finally, we drop the acceptance report and all the JSONs into the evidence folder. Pass means that you scale to the next document type or bigger volume, while fail means fix, rerun, and try again. Step number 8 is security and governance. Governance ships with the workflow and not later. We keep it small team sample. Clear roles, safe AI use, change control, and an incident loop. You don't need a 50-pager. So access. Run least privilege, partners and ops own, the working teams are members, and then visitors are read-only. No externals by default. If you need them, time box the guest access through a ticket. Second, AI use. Only the approved extractor and the prompt pack. No public LLMs with client data ever. Evidence JSON stays in the repository, and the vendors must never train on your data. Change control. Every version bump gets a one-line reason and the initials who did it. Post changes in a channel. And rollback means pulling the last good version from the evidence. That's why you need them versioned, so when one fails, you can quickly roll back. About the incidents, errors should go into a channel AI errors. Triage within 24 hours. Pause the flow, deploy the hotfix, or revert, and then add a short post-mortem. You'd be surprised how many useful learnings come from incidents. Embrace them. Resume only after 10 to 20% spot checks passed. As far as the audit goes, turn on your library audit logs. Weekly check. Make sure that external shares equal 0, that the permission drift also equals 0, that you have 10 to 20% sample passes, and that the retention policy is enforced. That's it. Guardrails that fit a small team, and every step leaves a proof in evidence. Step number 9, KPIs and maturity. We don't celebrate uploads. We celebrate stable, repeatable outputs. You don't have to overcomplicate it. But from week 1, track at least 4 KPIs. Time to triage, first run pass rate, routing accuracy, and playbook coverage. Add 2 health checks. Evidence completeness must always be at 100%. And track your manual review rate. We set a simple targets ladder. Day 14, 30, 60, and 90. Each rung pushes triage faster, raises accuracy, and expands coverage. Red flags are clear. Routing drops more than 10 points week on week. Manual review stays above 20% for 2 weeks, or evidence falls below 100%. Any of these mean stop and fix. And here's the rule of thumb. Raw files don't count. Normalized columns plus evidence JSON produce processed metrics. That's how a small team scales without guessing. Thanks for sticking around all the way till the end. Here's the sequence that matters. A clean repo with required fields feeding evidence JSON. Playbooks from signed history and not opinion. Deviation-based triage weighted by risk. Batch gates so we don't ship junk. Governance in line. Roles, incidents, versions, and KPIs tracked weekly. Time to triage, first run, routing, and coverage. And that's the foundation a legal team can trust. Now here's 2 ways how to go about this. Either do it yourself path, where you grab the SOP down below in the description, and then you run a 20 to 50 NDA pilot with the gates we've set. Or there's a guided path. If you want MPL legal tech advisors to pressure test your setup and create or fine-tune your prompts and playbooks, book a free consultation call with me below. If this saved you time, subscribe and drop a comment below with the one clause you want to see codified next. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.